Hey everybody. So for today's movie review, I'm going to talk about the film VHS. It is a new independent horror film by several directors. Um, so pretty much VHS, you guys, it's kind of the modern day Creepshow. It's kind of like it's a 2012 unofficial version of Creepshow in some ways. And what I mean by that is, um, it's one film, but it's several stories within the film. So it's about six stories altogether, and they all center around these events that happen on a VHS tape that these guys have to recruit at the beginning of the film to make a lot of money off of. Um, so VHS, you guys, like I said, the kind of the prologue story of the whole video, and then it kind of happens in between all these stories. Is like I said, these guys are trying to steal a VHS tape. They're kind of these pranksters on YouTube. They like to go out and film like these little nonsense things, and they they get assigned this project where they have to steal this VHS tape from this guy because they'll make a lot more money off of it. They're not just doing do pranks anymore. They actually get to go out and do something they can make a lot of money off of. Um, Another story, well, actually, the first story that happens on this VHS tape, and I will try to go as spoiler free as possible for this, but I think it is important that I go through a synopsis of each of these other stories that happen in the film. One of them deals with a this girl with a demonic secret. She gets picked up by all these guys who are partying one night. They're going back to their hotel, and during the hotel, they get kind of sexually active. They want to do things with these girls that are very, very dirty and almost sex game like. Um, and so when they get to this girl during this sex game that they're playing, um, like I said, there's kind of this demonic secret that she has that's revealed at that point in the movie. Um, the second story, which actually is directed by Ty West, who did The Innkeepers. A great film, but unfortunately, this story doesn't live up to The Innkeepers. It deals with a couple who are on their honeymoon trip, and they are they stay at this hotel, and they always see this hitchhiker outside their room, and every night the hitchhiker has a camera with them. I'm not sure if it's the one they had or if this hitchhiker actually had a camera of his or her own, and they film pretty much what they do at night. They're looking through all their stuff. They have a knife with them so they can look at like their bodies and stuff. Um, and there's pretty much a secret revealed at the end of the story that actually involved both the wife and this person with the plastic face that you'll see. Um, the third story deals with these group of teenagers or young adults, and they're in this forest for some reason. I think they're on a trip of some kind, and one of them talks about this series of murders that happened not too long ago. That they're in this forest that they're in, and they they start to get freaked out, and like actually things start happening, and there actually is someone who's like a murderer there, and so that there's all this kind of stuff that happens, and it turns out the girl who kind of told him the story kind of has this personal vendetta against this person that's doing all of this. Um, the next story deals with a ghost or ghosts in a apartment, and it's filmed entirely on Skype. It's these two people talking, um, and this girl's telling this guy about all these ghosts she has in her house, and the guy witnesses them on camera with the Skype camera, and there's a secret dealing with this guy on the other end of the Skype camera that I don't want to get into too much detail into because it would ruin the story, but the guy is connected to the whole ghost in the apartment thing. Um, and then the fifth and final story of the film, like I said, that story with the guys trying to retrieve this tape happens between all these stories as they're getting done. Um, and so their story concludes right before this one. So actually, this one here I'm about to explain is actually the last thing you see in the film before the end credits. Um, these guys are they go to this haunted house, and well, it's like a Halloween party at this house, and they find out it's haunted. And there's a lot of things going on that they didn't know about before going into this party. It has a small attendance. They see something going on in one of the rooms that freaks them out and kind of starts all these haunting, paranormal things happening within the house. Um, so it's a very good film, you guys. Like I said, it's a lot like Creepshow. It's a lot like Tales from the Dark Side. Several stories in one, or like Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. It was a series of books from a while back. Um, But as far as positives and negatives go, you guys, I thought this film had a very good modern day horror anthology. Um, a lot of clever found footage elements were in here. Um, the first and the third story. What I mean by that is the story with the girl with that demonic secret and the girl who had kind of that personal vendetta against the murder in the forest. Both of those stories were very interesting to me, but unfortunately, they both do something that I didn't care for. But as far as like analyzing the film, looking back on it, those were the two stories that I really appreciated, and they both offered something that I think all horror films should do. So that's always a plus. Um, just overall neat story concepts. You know, a lot of neat concepts we see here. Um, Story 5 had some awesome special effects. You know, that was one with the haunted house that I explained. Just some really cool effects they did with it. You know, like hands coming out of the wall, like you'll see in the trailer, hands coming out of the ground, dishes floating, attacking the people in the house. You know, just a lot of really cool effects that they did with this film. And I really wish this film had more of those effects throughout the runtime. Um, some stories start good and they end bad, and story number three is a good example of this, where I love the concept. You know, it had kind of this Friday the 13th feeling to it, but it just ended really bad. It got really gory near the end. Um, and some of these other stories are kind of like the two is like, that's the ending. Um, there was a lot of bad and unusual camera angles in this. There was a lot of points in this film where I was asking myself, you know, why would people be filming this right now? Wouldn't they be scared out of their minds, too scared to actually film this? But of course, it's a movie, so they got to film it some way. But you know, there's a lot of things in this film where you almost ask yourself, you know, why are they filming that right now? Wouldn't they be scared to death? Um, as far as the negatives go, you guys, there was a lot of unnecessary blood and gore in this. A lot of scenes where I just really wish they went back and cut it out because I got the point across that these people were dead. They didn't need to show me, you know, ripping the intestines out and all that kind of crap. You know, there's so many bad horror films these days that think they can do that, and you know, they should be like the original Halloween. Just give us enough information to know what was going on and end it there. You don't have to add all this blood and gore into the movie. Um, the film drags at times, especially with the story with the honeymooners and the person with the plastic face who's kind of this hitchhiker. A lot of that story specifically dragged on a lot. And I've seen a lot of Ty West's other films. You know, he tends to build things up, but that story just really dragged on, and there was a lot of unnecessary information in that story. Um, but then there was some other times in here too where it just kind of dragged along. It's just like, okay, get to the point. What are you trying to tell me? Um, the Some scenes were actually underwhelmingly scary, meaning they weren't scary enough. Um, there was yeah, there was just some scenes in here. It was just like, you know, that could have been a lot scarier than what they ended up doing with it. Um, there was an unhealthy balance of too much build and not enough build. Like there's like, you know, just enough build for the scare, not enough build for the scare. Um, and overall, I thought this film just needed a better story execution. I mean, it was a good film. I enjoyed it. My friends who I watched it with enjoyed it too. But it just needed to be executed better. I thought it just, you know, there was something about that made me say to myself, this could have been the next Creepshow, and it didn't feel that way. You know, it was marketed to me like that, but it just, after viewing the whole film, it just didn't. It kind of felt like a missed opportunity in some ways. Um, but overall, guys, I give VHS a 7.5 out of 10. It's an okay film. It's a better Redbox rental than a theatrical experience, I think. Um, it's an okay film. It has its moments. It has, you know, it kind of like, oh, that'd be a cool, you know, modern day creep show kind of feeling. But there was just some things in here that really dragged, a lot of unnecessary blood and gore. Really could have been a lot scarier, like Paranormal Activity level, and it never quite goes there. Um, but it's a good film, you guys. You know, give it a view. You know, I'm not telling you you're gonna love it. You know, it's not gonna be instant classic by any means, but it's an okay film. It's worth seeing. Like I said, I personally recommend renting it over seeing it in the theater. If it even goes to the theater in your hometown, because it's pretty limited release up here in Wisconsin. But um, anyway, guys, I give the film a 7.5 out of 10. It's okay, and hopefully I will see you guys here for the next review or next video.